The Star Wars universe is one of the oldest, most popular, expensive, and largest franchises in cinematic history. And of course, over the years of its existence, fans have created a lot of theories based on the story. Some of them are delusional, but others, on the contrary, allow you to look at the story from a new angle. About Movies found the most interesting theories for you. They are able to answer those questions about Star Wars that many fans have been interested in for a long time.
I am your father.
Click on the red subscribe button and bell to learn about your favorite movie universes that many others don't know. Subscribe, and we're going to a galaxy far, far away. Let's start with one of the most ancient and mainstream fan theories, which suggests that Jar Jar Binks is the high-ranking Sith. It is built in an attempt to justify the presence of the hatred for Jar Jar Binks in the Star Wars universe. The character is considered stupid, worthless, and unnecessary for the plot. Many believe that this appearance in the film is written off as a desire to attract children of primary school age to cinema. It may be close to the truth, but the most inquisitive fans of the franchise came up with a more interesting explanation. According to this theory, Jar Jar Binks is a high-ranking Sith who possesses power and skillfully uses it. And there turned out to be plenty of indirect facts under this crazy, at first glance, theory. For example, Jar Jar has truly cosmic luck. He comes out unscathed from any mess and sometimes is able to inflict losses on the enemy quite easily. Recall the scene where the Gungan kills 2 droids with a blaster held by a third droid caught on its leg.
Misa hating crunching. That's the last thing Misa wanting.
Nevertheless, the boy is right. You're heading into trouble. Thanks, my young friend.
But Misa doing nothing.
Also, this ridiculous and worthless character on a regular basis seriously affects the plot. He easily convinces the Galactic Senate to transfer all power to the Emperor, as if by chance he foresees the future. And in the 3rd episode, in every possible way, serves the interests of Palpatine. All these and many other facts may hint that this ridiculous clown is, in fact, the high-ranking Sith and Yoda's counterpart on the dark side. Another character suspected of being a Sith is Qui-Gon Jinn. Sounds crazy. At first glance, he is a wise, experienced, and kind person and mentor. But some arguments still make you think different. Nobody attaches importance to a lot of interesting facts. For example, the fact that the character was a student of Count Dooku, or the fact that it was Qui-Gon bypassing the Jedi Council and the Republic who made a decisive contribution to the creation of the Clone Army, which then notably patted the Jedi and became the main force of the Empire. Well, the most important mistake of this hero is Anakin Skywalker. Who better should have been a huge dark potential in the soul of this guy who was destined to become a local Hitler than Qui-Gon Jinn?
The boy is dangerous. They all sense it, why can't you?
His fate is uncertain. He's not dangerous.
However, he insisted on making Anakin a Jedi, and later, as expected, he turned to the dark side and began to cause hell everywhere. We have one of 2 options. Either Qui-Gon was poorly versed in people and didn't understand politics at all, or he was the so-called gray Sith who rushed between the light and dark sides in his own interests. Perhaps everyone, when watching Star Wars, at least once wondered why Stormtroopers constantly overshoot. There is a quite amusing theory that explains this. According to it, that's not about helmets with poor visibility at all. That's about the Force. When we first see Stormtroopers boarding Tantive 4, they easily overwhelm the rebels. When shooting Jawas on Tatooine, Obi-Wan immediately notes that they were shot at with accuracy characteristic of Stormtroopers. And what do we see in other films? Black and white soldiers can't hit either Luke or Leia, nor Rey or even Sharat Inway, except for a couple of random hits. The theory is that the Force protects its wielders from blaster fire. But why don't Stormtroopers hit Han Solo too? Well, the theory gives an answer to this as well. Solo is also a wielder of the Force, but he doesn't feel it or understand it. Han Solo is by default represented by an ordinary person without any superpowers. At the same time, he always emerges victorious from any troubles, demonstrating inhuman dexterity. In Episode 5, C-3PO warns that there is a 3,720 to 1 chance of flying through the asteroid field, but Solo just brushes it off and calmly guides the Millennium Falcon through the deadly zone. Bonus tricks like escaping from the belly of a space slug are included. One would assume that Solo is just damn lucky. In one of the disputes with Kenobi, the hero declares that there is no Force at all. Ben smiles mysteriously as he answers.
See? You can do it.
I call it luck.
In my experience, there's no such thing as luck.
Perhaps the old man knows something? Most likely, Han used the Force all his life without even thinking about it. Star Wars fans agree that he is Force-sensitive, which is not the same as a Jedi, but somehow explains his amazing luck. But Solo is not the only character who is credited with being Force-sensitive. By default, it is assumed that the Force comes from midichlorians in a biological organism, which means that only living beings can possess it. However, the fans suggest that not all is easy as it might seem, as everyone's favorite R2-D2 is also a Force wielder. Often, his actions become a key contribution to victory. Sometimes he repairs a ship in outer space at high speed. Sometimes he hacks systems. He can even take off and set fire to enemies. It's hard to say what R2-D2 can't do. He always finds himself in the middle of nowhere in a starfighter on a mission next to the most powerful Jedi. Take him mentally out of the movie and you'll find that without R2-D2, nothing sticks together at all. Definitely, Naboo's royal engineers managed to make the most powerful droid in the universe.
Don't worry, we have R2 with us.
The fact that he made it through all 6 episodes unscathed is another example of incredible luck. Some, by the way, believe that R2-D2 is actually a secret agent of some powerful hidden civilization. We are introduced to R2 during the escape of 2 droids from Tantive 4, where we thought they belonged to Princess Organa. Now let's rewind the time. Is it a coincidence that R2 ended up on Queen Amidala's personal transport and survived alone after being shelled by the Trade Federation blockade ring? Here are other coincidences. The droid becomes a constant companion of both Anakin and Padme. Through the most incredible coincidences, the droid turns out to be the hero of almost any Star Wars movie after The Phantom Menace. To tell the truth, the theory doesn't speak about who exactly is behind the restless droid. What do you think about this theory? Share your opinion in the comments. Which of the theories we have told you do you believe in, and which ones do you consider absolutely delirious? Even more theories are around the origin of Anakin Skywalker. One of the most popular options is that Palpatine himself became the father of the epic villain. In Revenge of the Sith, he mentioned that he had mastered all the knowledge of Darth Plagueis. And Darth Plagueis, as you remember, mastered the ancient knowledge through which he could transform midichlorians into life itself. At the same time, in a dialogue with Qui-Gon Jinn, some doubt runs across the face of Anakin's mother, as if she was afraid to tell the truth about her son's father. Is it possible that Palpatine experimented with her body, creating something like an immaculate conception? Or was it quite filthy? Who knows? Although, with the same success, fans stated that Darth Plagueis himself and even Master Yoda could be Anakin's father. So, mostly, we are just beating around the bush. Continuing the topic of parents and children, there is an explanation for why Obi-Wan hid the son of Darth Vader under the same name and on the same planet where his unlucky father was born. At the beginning of the 4th episode, this problem with the sand planet makes itself felt again. Princess Leia stands there with the most important droids, one of which contains the secret plans of the rebels. But Darth Vader doesn't rush to plow all of Tatooine personally, he only sends stormtroopers. And the answer lies in one of the dialogues of the 2nd episode, where Anakin tells Padme that he can't stand sand. It is because of his childhood on Tatooine. All that he remembered from this perfect period of time was slavery, his dead mother, toys nailed to the floor, and so on. Therefore, the epic villain hates and avoids his home planet in every possible way. Some believe that Luke's guardians gave him blue milk as an added measure of protection from Luke's formidable father. The theory is that it blocks the sense of the Force. Sounds crazy, right? On the other hand, look, Luke, living on Tatooine and regularly drinking blue milk, showed no sense of the Force. This looks strange because he is the son of a very powerful Force wielder. And if you remember how Yoda himself gave the order to keep Luke with his relatives, an interesting picture emerges. What if the old man knew about such a property of a drink popular with Tatooine farmers? Luke stopped drinking milk after leaving Tatooine, and what do you think? Already on the Millennium Falcon, Luke was able to feel the Force, fought off a recon droid with an electric shock, and in general, his progress was simply incredible. In a couple of days, the Force helped him bring down the Death Star, and after 3.5 years, small Skywalker defeated Darth Vader himself in a duel and didn't succumb to the temptation of the Emperor. Moreover, having gone into exile on Ahch-To, Luke drank blue milk again. And according to the theory, this is what allows him to not feel the Force. And in order to enchantly return to rescue of the Resistance, it is enough not to drink milk for about a day. All fans of Star Wars certainly remember one very dramatic scene. Luke returns home and sees that the enemies burned his home and killed his entire family. The version that Sand People were involved in this was denied by Obi-Wan, but the most obvious version that everyone was killed by Stormtroopers is also criticized by fans. Stormtroopers are ordinary soldiers who kill with blasters, and their goal is to kill as soon as possible. But Luke's adopted parents were not just killed. The killers, in addition, incinerated their bodies. Later, we learn that the ruthless mercenary Boba Fett was also on Tatooine at this time, and in one of the dialogues, Darth Vader sends Fett on a mission and says the following words verbatim:
No disintegration.
So, it is likely that it was Fett who killed the uncle and aunt. What about the theory that Chewbacca is actually a rebel agent? He appears to the audience as a very smart dog of Han Solo who, despite all his absurdity, makes a huge contribution to the common cause.
Joey! All right, don't lose your temper. I'll come right back and give you a hand.
But unlike Han, Chewbacca has a rich backstory. In the prequels, he was a good friend of Master Yoda and even helped him escape from the clones. In the company of Han, Luke, and Princess Leia, he is supposedly the most experienced and knowledgeable as he alone has participated in the battles of the past. But his behavior suggests the idea that he skillfully pretends to be a fool who saw nothing and knows nothing. From all these threads, fans have connected the story that Chewbacca is an agent of the Rebels, whose mission was to persuade Han Solo to become friends with Luke and get him to play on the right side. Another interesting theory that has the right to live is the assumption that the action of these films take place in our galaxy. Contrary to the world-famous disclaimer, the action takes place not long ago, but in the future, and not in the far, far, but in our own Milky Way galaxy. Firstly, all the characters, with the exception of alien races, look and behave like the most ordinary representatives of the reasonable human species. Secondly, this theory is supported by numerous Easter eggs and cross-references with other space franchises. For example, the action of Star Trek takes place in our galaxy, but in 2 episodes it mentions the home planet of Princess Leia, Alderaan. In the film Star Trek Into Darkness, you can see the robot R2-D2, and in Star Trek First Contact, a Millennium Falcon flies by. In Steven Spielberg's E.T. the Extraterrestrial, the alien E.T. sees a man in a Yoda costume in a suburb of Los Angeles, recognizes him, and shouts, "Home, home." And many years later, in The Phantom Menace, George Lucas included a delegation of E.T. to the Galactic Council. Here, aliens are called Grellips, and if you read it the other way around, you get the word surname Spielberg. Of course, most likely in this way the franchises simply played tribute to each other. Sometimes fan theories are completely crazy, and sometimes they are very logical and justified. The beauty of movie franchises like Star Wars is the sheer scale and complexity of their worlds. Thanks to this, fans are provided with food for thought for many decades to come. Among such franchises, The Matrix can be distinguished. The Wachowskis put so many meanings, references, and subtext into their creation, and even after 20 years, fans continue to speculate about the true meaning of The Matrix. If you click on this icon here, you will learn about a theory that literally turns our entire understanding of The Matrix upside down. At first, it will seem crazy, but the arguments are quite convincing. Follow the link and watch. It's really interesting. And that's all for today. This was About Movies. Like this video and see you soon. Bye-bye.